part.
The good news is a lot of that didn't make it to the YouTube. The bad news is I think Ben was recording a lot of that.
I was recording ever since John, when you and I started talking about Skype updates.
Oh, good.
Oh, was there a Skype update?
Well, for him
there was for me.
That's why we had the stupid that's the voice of Skype saying, "Yeah, I think it's time that you have an update."
Oh.
You want to make Bing a search engine? It doesn't seem to be streaming, does it?
Bing's really great.
I hate how it auto checks those boxes every fucking Skype update.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I don't want to Bing.
No one wants to Bing.
Y'all want to Bing? No, nobody wants to Bing with you. Bing.
Come on, man, let's Bing.
Bing with me. I'm Bing. I'll tell you where you can find laundry.
What?
Bing. Oh, why is audio playing? There we go.
My friend Revendon just started watching Azeroth Roundtable.
Whoa, look at that. Look at me go. I am watching it. I'm watching.
It's cycling,
It's
and
going.
cycling, and cycling.
I got an ad.
It's like it doesn't want to play for me.
I got an ad.
Oh, maybe it's cycling the whole time because I have a new ad blocker up.
I don't know. It's still cycling for me, too.
Oh, I guess I shouldn't feel bad then.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully the chat can see it at some point.
Well, Alessandra said yay sound, so I'm assuming that she can at least hear something.
Yeah. Let me close some other...
Matt has his speakers on. Hang on, I gotta go turn them off. I was like, I can hear like an echo. It's really weird.
Just pretend you're in a baseball stadium. Today,
this is the greatest day. My life.
Everybody says it's cycling. Gosh dang it.
Reload.
All right.
Load.
I'm going to try reloading. If it works, then we're good. If it doesn't reload, then I'm going to just shut it all down. Reloading.
Oh, hey,
seems to
I reloaded and it's working fine.
Yeah. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Woohoo. Just reload if you see it cycle. Hey guys, I'm going to tweet out that we're live.
Okay.
Yay.
You should do that.
I tweeted it.
I will read your tweet.
Hey guys, I'm going to retweet that we're out live.
I'll drink your tweet.
It.
Wait, that doesn't
I
make
left
sense.
my phone in the bedroom, so I can't tweet anything.
That's okay.
Twitter doesn't let me on unless I have the two-factor authentication thing.
Well, next time you're back on Twitter, make sure you vote in my poll of where I'm going next in Mass Effect.
Ho ho! I definitely will. I have strong opinions.
Your options are help Tally, help Jacob, help Zaid, or recruit the Justicar.
Oh, dude, recruit the Justicar.
Justicar.
That right now is the second choice.
Well, hold on. I gotta go
with
vote.
22%.
Everyone loves
Tally's
Tally.
winning. Oh, of course, because she's Tally.
I mean, Tally's great, but you gotta get... What's her name? Samara? Was Samara the daughter?
Samara. No.
Who was the daughter?
Blood Samara.
I can't remember, but... It's not Liara, is it?
No, Liara's the cute... my wife.
Her name is Samarna. Like now.
What? No.
No, it isn't. Okay, now I need to look this up.
Now you're just making up shit. The problem is that Samara...
When have I ever done that?
Samara is the name of the girl in the ring, and so I assume evil, evil one is Samara.
Which, how excited are you, John, to actually see rings?
I probably won't go see
rings. That trailer came on. We went to go see Triple X. And that trailer was on, and I was like, no, Matt, no, I can't watch it. La, 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 la. No, I almost left. I was like, I can't do this. That movie scarred me for life.
Oh, did you see the prank where they had a whole bunch of people in like an electronics store, and one of the TVs was rigged so that the girl dressed up as Samara could crawl out of it? It freaked people out. It was fake. It was all fake. And you see them setting it up and everything, so it's not a scary thing. It's haha, these people are stupid. But meanwhile, I'm thinking if I was in their position, I would probably kick her in the face and run away.
I like that you just had to stress to Jocelyn, no, it's fake. Samara wasn't really killing people.
Well, you know what? I care about Jocelyn. What can I say? I want to make sure that she knows this is a safe place.
Understand, Samara has not gotten loose and is running amok in the city. That hasn't happened yet.
That's what she wants you to think, John.
But, you know,
She's
since I told
formed a
someone to go
pact
check
with
out
the
this
shadow
video, I'm
people.
safe. So we're cool.
See?
Mhm.
They're all working together.
Did you ever
Yeah.
play the Fear games, Jocelyn?
No. Why does that strike you as something I would do?
It seems like the kind of thing that you would set like a patron goal for
Yeah.
and would easily hit because everybody would want to see it.
I feel like I should start doing more of those things now. Like,
I don't
watch
know.
me embarrass the fuck out of myself for dollars. Kind of a prostitute, but no one talks about it like that, so.
You're a fear-stitute. There's a difference. Yeah, that's how it goes. No, I'm with you. I can't do scary stuff. I just can't. You know that. That's why
Yeah.
John always tries to get me to do scary things. Because he likes to sit back and watch me.
I like scary things, but I prefer, like, I guess emotionally or mentally scary things. Like, I usually like ghost stories and stuff, but and like unsolved murders and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't like gore for the sake of gore, and I don't like things that jump out at me. And The Ring, though very psychologically frightening, I thought, it had too many jumpy out bits.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that.
You know what has made me not want to see Rings and makes me think that it would not be scary at all?
What?
She crawls out of a laptop, which in my mind means that there's this tiny little micro girl coming out at you. And it kind of just becomes funny. Like, if I saw that, she suddenly, like, popped out and she was, like, you know,
Like 15 inches tall or something.
yeah, like, I'd be like, oh, man, look at you.
And then she, like, sucks out your soul and turns you into this, like, swamp
And then you're like-
person. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd die laughing. It'd be worth it.
You're so funny. Yeah.
It's just like, I was talking to a friend the other day, and I said, look, if I ever get mugged and I get shot and it's like clear I'm not going to make it during the mugging or whatever, I hope that I have the wherewithal for this plan. The plan is to say to the robber, like, that's not my real wallet. It's in my other pocket. And then have him go, because like I'm dying slowly of a gunshot.
I don't know where this story's going.
And then
I'm a
have
little
him
worried.
have him reach for my back pocket and then fart on his hand.
What if he goes for the front pocket?
Yeah.
And you say, pervert.
No, then you go other pocket. And then
Deeper.
as he goes to walk
Deeper.
away, just start quoting Yoda from Return of the Jedi and just be like, Luke. Luke. And
Good
A
sir.
lot of thought into this.
and then when he
No, sir.
leans in, there is another Skywalker. And then die.
John, I will do my very best to make sure that those are your last words.
I think that'd be a
I
good way
totally
to
thought you
go.
were gonna go with "there is another pocket," but
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
also
good
too, or
way.
there's another
That's
wallet.
how we combine it. That's how we combine it. You start with that, then when he reaches for the other wallet, just right on his hand.
Great.
If you were the
let's
kind
look
of
at the show.
person who murders people for money, do you
You
think
should get your hand farted
do
on.
you think you would find that funny?
Hey, just sit there. "Huh, well, that's new. Like, I like you, kid. It just leaves it at that.
Yeah. That's it.
All right.
So what are we talking about tonight? Wow.
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got a fun story to start off with.
Is it involving muggings and farts?
Not particularly,
Okay,
but it
fair.
does involve a
It should be.
behind or a rear end, if you will. Oh, you'll see the story. Or no, you won't see the story. You'll hear the story.
I don't want to hear your rear end story.
Yeah, you do.
Mm,
It's happening whether you like it or not.
You're just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, Jocelyn, whenever you're ready to kick us off, go right ahead, assuming John is ready. John, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you
Okay,
sure?
Jocelyn.
I'm 100%. Wait, hold on. Yep, I'm 100% sure.
All right. This is Jocelyn from For Azeroth and the Angry Chicken, and you're listening to Azeroth Roundtable.
Oh, shoot. You know what? Hold on. Something. Okay, there we go. It's
I'm
fine.
not doing it again.
It's fine. Oh, crap. I froze you guys. Hold on. I'm having technical difficulties on my end. It's fine. It's all fine. We're good. And we did it. We did it.
Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Can we actually talk?
Yep. Hold on.
Okay.
Yep. Looks good on the stream. All right.
Welcome to Azeroth Roundtable, episode 201. My name is Ben Mumhoffer, and with me, as always, is John Jagger. How's it going, John?
For the record, that was completely unintentional, that one.
Okay. Of course, you say that every single time.
It was. You could see on the video. If you're listening to this, and Ben's decided to include this, there were some video technical difficulties.
Oh, you know I'll include it. I don't edit
At the end of Jocelyn's well done one-take intro. Very professional.
Yes, good job, Jocelyn.
Why, thank you.
Speaking of which, Jocelyn, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, we are in the next 100 episodes.
I know, I'm so sorry that I missed episode 200 last week. Congratulations!
Yay!
200 is a
thank you.
huge milestone, so that's awesome.
Well, I appreciate
That's like,
that.
what, 4 years of Azeroth Roundtable?
Actually, in March, it'll be 3, I think.
Wait a minute.
2...
52
It'll
is
be
1
4.
year.
Yeah.
It'll be
100
4 years.
Yeah.
In March. All right, go on.
Way to completely subtract
Math
a
is
year
hard.
from our number, Ben.
Well, you know what? We're just go-getters. We did an extra 52 episodes in there somewhere. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, Azeroth Roundtable, we talk about World of Warcraft and stuff. We never have any plans on what we want to talk about, so that's why this show is as weird as it is sometimes. But I do have actually someplace to start off this week.
Is it Azeroth?
So it is Azeroth.
I bet it has a roundtable.
It has a roundtable.
Sweet. Great.
We've
We've done it.
It actually it takes place after Raid on Wednesday this week. So
Okay.
was it Tuesday? No, it might have been Tuesday. Whatever. Yeah, it was Tuesday. Not that the day actually matters at all. It doesn't matter at all.
Yet you
But,
keep trying to remember it as if it does. As if it's very important.
Well, because, I said it was after Raid, and that would have been a lie. I want to be accurate, John.
Okay. Well, present me with your facts, Ben.
Okay, so after I recorded Battle Pets with the Ludra, I went ahead and logged back
Nice
into WoW.
plug. I guess that one's free.
And I finished my quest, so I got my Ulduar Legendary done. So I have the hammer from Ulduar as a Legendary on my Monk.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
yay,
okay.
cool Legendary Healy Hammer. So that's pretty cool. But I went back to Dalaran, and then I saw someone walking around with the dragon, the Chinese dragon head parade thing, the new
Yes.
toy. So, John, did you see any of these new toys for the Lunar Festival?
No.
Okay, so there's 3 toys you can get. There's the head of like a Chinese dragon, like you'd see in a parade.
Okay.
A middle
What does it...
and an
Oh,
end.
okay. Hold on. I guess
So-
you're getting there.
Yeah. So I saw someone with the head, so I'm like, sweet. So I went ahead and put the tail on and followed them around. But as soon as I put the tail on, they stopped. So then I just stood behind them the whole time. So it was, like little itty bitty dragon head and tail just standing there. And they did nothing for 10 minutes.
They probably went AFK and then came back
Oh,
for
no, they were
how long
there.
Oh.
They were there because I did slash dance and started dancing, and it's really cool because the when you're in the costume, you like kind of crouch down and stand up and kind of kick a leg and stuff. You do like a little tiny dance and everything.
Like a little dragon dance.
Yeah, and you do a little spin every now and then, and they started doing it too. So I'm like, yay, they're there, and we're emoting at each other, and they never went anywhere. So I'm like, well, what the hell's wrong with them?
Maybe they were waiting for a middle. Which, by the way, Ben,
Maybe.
what made you
Yes.
decide to go tail? Are you like...
Because other people can get the middle part and fill in, because the middle's only 10 ancestral coins, where the front and the back are 25 each.
Okay.
So, I figured more people will maybe go for the cheaper one, or instead of having a head and a middle, we have a full dragon. It's just tiny.
You know what I think, Ben?
You think that I should have gone with the middle?
I think you just didn't want to be the middle.
No, I don't care about that. I'm fine with
I
being the
think
middle.
you saw a point where you weren't going to be the head of the dragon, and you thought, well, darn it, I'm going to be on one end of this thing or the other. I think you human centipeded. You realized that there are two positions that are better than others, and you went with one of the favorable ones. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying you should own up to what you did.
John, I would not think that. Well, first of all, I didn't human centipede it at all. I didn't put that logic in it. My logic was we have a complete dragon and we can run around the city as a complete dragon. And if more people can join, then they can join.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds like something pretend tail don't want to be middle would say.
Okay. So here's the thing. So then after about 10 minutes, they logged off. So I was just a tail staying there. So I turned off the costume. Then I put on my dragon head costume.
Yep. See, look, as soon as a better position popped up, as soon as he had the option.
No one else. Someone needs to lead, and there's no one there that's dressed up to lead. So I'm like, great. So what happens is I put on the head costume. I start walking around Dalaran, just do laps around Dalaran, and I'm doing like an actual dragon, parade thing would do, by swerving, going left and right, going in circles, just having fun with it. And then some random person from the guild pops in with the tail end. So we're walking around together, we're having fun. I'm circling people and walking up things and jumping, and they're totally following along and having a great time, and we're living it up, just walking around, having fun. And then, boom, a middle shows up too. And it was great. So the three of us were walking around Dalaran, and all of a sudden, I see someone else on like a Death Knight horse or something say, WTF, with like huge exclamation points and question marks and stuff. We just keep walking and stuff. And then we start building this train of people on their mounts, just slowly following us around as we're, just going around Dalaran. Like at one point we had a mammoth, we had the Nightbane mount, we had, that Death Knight kept following us, and we had a bunch of people just kind of like randomly following us around, and I'm just happily going around Dalaran, and it was so much fun. I loved it. At one point someone gave us all giant growth elixirs, so we all drank it and got in and turned into a bigger dragon. I mean, it was great. We were bringing people together just by walking around and having fun.
Imagine
awesome.
that. Having fun and bringing people together in a multiplayer game online.
I know, right? What's up with that?
Who'd have thought that was the secret?
Yeah,
you know who the real hero of the story is, Ben?
The middle, yeah.
The middle?
Yeah.
If there was a head and a tail, I would have gladly chosen the middle. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I go for a complete dragon first and then fill in the extra spots. Mm-hmm. Makes sense to me. But I'll tell you, it was so much fun. And it was the dumbest thing. It lasted for 15 minutes because the thing lasts for 15 minutes. And then
what's the cooldown?
I think it's 15 minutes.
What?
I know, right?
That means the dragon good times can keep on going.
Yeah, but
can't
at that point,
stop, won't stop.
1:30 in the morning, and I had to go to bed because I worked the next day. But man, seriously, it was as dumb as it was. It was just stupid fun, and I really enjoyed it.
Well,
so Jocelyn,
there's a question.
Do you have any dragon costumes?
I do not have any of the
Ben
dragon
just wants to know about dragons.
Yep.
Tell me about dragons.
It was really funny because when I saw like what was new with the holidays, because I've already done my long strange trip, and so I kind of fell off of a lot of the holidays in game.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw what was new with the lunar holiday, I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. But who would ever really do this?
Yeah.
There's literally at least 3 people in World of Warcraft who would do
4,
this.
because okay, I don't know if I count that Draenei as the 4th though, because she just kind of stood there for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah, they didn't.
She probably
dragon.
went, what the heck does this do? Oh.
Where do you buy the dragon parts at? You buy them up in Moonglade. Like I said, the front and the back are 25 ancestral coins, and the middle part is 10.
Even Blizzard is ashamed of the middle. They're like, we know.
No one wants to be the middle.
I know you're basically signing up to be a piece of sushi. It's fine.
No cut of fish. God, why'd you have to make that comparison?
I'm
Sean?
not the only one. The chat room ended up saying it too.
I know, but come on.
How can you not think about the human centipede when you're thinking about
Easily.
this?
Something really fun and happy. And then the human centipede. Thanks.
I've never even seen that movie, but
Neither have I. John has.
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
How come you told me that you watched it like a while ago?
Oh no, I was probably lying to you.
Or you watched it.
If I watched it, I have no memory of it. It was so bad that I've erased all memory of it from my brain. I know enough to make comparisons between Ben's Happy Dragon Days and that, though.
Well, great. Just great.
I do think it's funny, though, that here we are again talking about the potential fun that can come out of surprise new items, surprise new ways to interact with each other in a odd social way, whether that's dressing up like a dragon.
A dragon.
Yeah.
Not a centipede. A dragon.
A dragon. I don't know. Maybe you get a bunch of middles together. See what happens.
Then you're just a worm.
Yeah. A cool worm, though. What? Oh, I wonder. I haven't seen it, so if this doesn't make any sense, I'm sorry, I just haven't seen it yet. But what if you got a tail and like 3 middles and another tail all together? You could make like a really freaky looking worm thing.
You could, except you'd have to walk backwards as that first tail.
Yeah. It'd be slow like a worm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was going around Dollarand, I had my walk on, so, just a normal walk. Because, you don't want to get too far ahead of the middle and the tail.
Ben, I want to imagine that's what you say when you're going to a store on foot. I had to go get my walk on. All right.
I do. I like to get my walk on sometimes.
So I could go to the grocery store, get my cereal on.
Yeah. Not milk, though.
No, because that would kill you. I understand.
Yes, it would.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about a thing, Ben. I know.
Okay, just making sure. People still think I'm weird whenever they see me eating cereal without milk.
Well, yeah, it's weird.
Side note.
I happen to know you're
can't have
lactose
it.
intolerant, but yes,
whole life.
it doesn't make it any less weird that you're just sitting there munching on dry cereal.
I'm like a toddler, John.
You can't
Cheerios.
you can't be trusted with the milk yet.
Exactly.
We'll work our way up to milk.
Okay, well, good then.
Great.
Yeah, so anyways, I had fun with the dragon.
Well, good. Jocelyn, I understand you've been upping your raid game a bit.
I have been.
Above the scrub leagues that is Ben and what I would be.
I would like to say the intramural or casual leagues.
The social fun leagues.
Yeah, the company softball league.
In all fairness, I do love raiding with you guys.
I know,
Because
and you
love
still
spending
show up
time with you
too.
guys. Yes. But yeah, we did. We started a new team with kind of an eye on heroics, which we're not quite there yet because we still basically have to get gear. It turns out that you can't really just jump into heroics. But
Wait,
yeah, I know, right? But yeah, we're having a really, really good time, and I think the thing that I like the most, because as I'm sure you both really know, I am a very competitive person. So
What?
I know, right?
Never.
So the thing that I'm enjoying the most is like we have a very, very small group. We've only got, I think, 13 in total, and so usually we end up with about 11. So we have a really small, tight group, and it's very much like we go in, we try a strat. If we wipe, then we run back as fast as possible and pull as fast as possible and change our strats. And like we have very, because it's such a small group, it's a very condensed kind of an experience. And I'm really enjoying like everyone putting in input, us going, okay, yeah, that sounds right. All right, let's do it. And executing and, moving on. And we've had a lot of really good raid nights. We got, so we got Helia down in technically 3 attempts, although the first attempt we totally missed a raid wiping mechanic, so it finished after like 15 seconds.
What was that raid wiping mechanic named Civ?
No, actually, Civ has been amazing. He's tanking for us, and yeah, he's been really really great and very like focused and very like strat driven, and he's like driving the whole thing, and he's been really fantastic.
I don't
so yeah,
understand these words when used in conjunction with Civ, but go on.
He's kind of been like our strategic raid lead, and then like he and Matt are kind of swapping off on that role, and then I've been basically like the Ben. I've been okay guys, it's all right, let's go on attempt number 7, we've got this, yeah.
Morale officer.
Kind of hard to do, isn't it?
It's actually it hasn't been that bad because we've made everything that we've tried. We've made steady progress. So we went through trial on our first raid night. We went through Trial of Valor, and I think we one shot the first 2. We did wipe on Odin once. So we wiped on Odin, then killed Odin. One shot Guarm, and then 2/3 shot Helia. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then so now we've done the first 3 bosses of Nighthold, and then this past week we tried Spellblade, and man, that is a really 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 difficult fight. It's like their first 3 bosses of Nighthold are like here, and then the next ones are like up here.
Oh boy, I am looking forward to that then.
There is a definite shift in difficulty level between the sections. And yeah, so we didn't end up getting Spellblade down, but I think we've been kind of spending time now on Mythic Plus runs and trying to gear up that way. So I think we've got a couple of different groups running, and we're running Keystones, I think, around 6-ish. So we're kind of constantly pushing that dungeon difficulty level up, and I'm just really enjoying. Even when we don't do well, we seem to kind of make progress. So being so competitive, it's really like scratching that itch for me in the PvE World of Warcraft, because I think that's what I was missing previously, is like I just never really got into it, and I found PvP more competitive because it wasn't predictable.
Yeah, a constant challenge.
Exactly. And so that's basically what I'm finding with Mythic Plus, with the different modifiers every week. And then on top of Mythic Plus, like now going for the kind of cutting edge raid content, as well as going back. We've done a couple of runs on Heroic Emerald Nightmare. So it's like going back and doing that kind of stuff is just, it's challenging now. And it's like, okay, even though I know the fight and I know what's going to happen, I still have to be like precise with what I'm doing. So it's opened up a whole new world for me as someone who was previously mostly, honed in on PvP in Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah, and it's very surprising. I mean, I know now that you're on 2 teams, you can definitely see the difference. But I'm not saying anything disparaging against the FERT raid team, because we have our level. This is where we're at and what we're doing and everything. But just the different drive and the frustrations and everything that can be caused by someone who is used to a higher challenge and everything like that. I can totally see when. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this without like an us and them kind of thing. and Jocelyn, you know that everything I say, of course, I mean well, and I love our team and the people on your team, that at least the ones I know. It's just when you can hear that frustration of the higher level people in the group who are ready to progress and ready to push, and that they're doing everything perfect, and then the people who just aren't as competitive and everything are just kind of not as fine-tuned, working together in a lower level type of rating instance and everything. It's really challenging on both fronts, because the higher driven people really need to help and be there and push and make sure things get done, and not just like hate the people who aren't as fine-tuned and pushing as hard.
Well, and it is 100% like not that. Sometimes it gets a little bit frustrating if you see the same mistake over and over again, but that doesn't really happen with us that often. And I think really the problem, and I think we saw it really best, I guess, the last raid night that we did with FERT is the perfect example, because like we got to the 3rd boss in Nighthold on our first attempt, but it was rough going, right?
Oh my gosh.
It was really, really rough going, and we didn't get the 3rd boss down. So then, and that was on normal. And then we went to LFR and we face rolled it.
Mhm.
And I think that that's Warcraft's problem. I don't think that's our problem. It's that they've created LFR, which, you know, should be easy because it's usually a whole bunch of random people. Like, we were lucky in that we brought like 22 of the 25 people in the raid, but, you know, like, usually it's a big group of random people, so it should require less coordination. But I almost feel like they're missing a difficulty level in there. And I don't think that, like, I think the 3 difficulties of normal, heroic, and mythic should exist. But I feel like the gap between LFR and normal is too big. So I feel like we're almost missing a raid tier, if that makes sense. Because, like, it's just such a leap from LFR to normal that groups that don't want to look with random people but then can't progress in normal, which I think is kind of where FERT is, at least with Nighthold right now. Like, there's a lot of times where we're bashing our heads up against normal, and it doesn't feel normal. Like, I think it should be challenging, but it's just there's a gap there.
And this is something that, I mean, it's come up on the show a couple times, but out of all of the different raid, you know, difficulties, I think normal is the one that Blizzard actually has the hardest time tuning.
Yes.
Because, I mean, you can't have it be as simple as LFR, just simple as that. Everybody knows that, and everybody agrees with that. We want to be able to progress, and I mean, we hit those marks at our own pace.
Mm-hmm.
Some bosses, it's a lot longer than you'd think.
Well, for instance,
but we still get there.
Yeah, for instance, I think now I'm total Ellereth in Emerald Nightmare and Cenarius specifically were bosses that we kind of hit up against. And this is also my first time in an expansion with FERT raid, like, from the start, because I did come in and help you guys by the time you were at kind of like Manaroth in Warlords of Draenor, just because I knew I had the damage. So I was like, you guys seem to have a damage problem. I can do damage. Like, I'll come help. But I hadn't, like, actually gone through a whole entire expansion with you guys as a raid team. And it just seemed like we would get to these points, and now we've gone through it in Legion, where we get to these points and these bosses, and you're just bashing your head up against it for weeks at a time. And you're just like, this feels like, you know, there should be something else here that, you know, like, we seem to be getting it, but maybe we just don't quite have the rotations down or the gear or whatever, but something about it makes it so that it can't be a fun social experience with just your friends. And I think that maybe it should be, because I think that's what, like, I think that LFR is the place that probably FERT should be in for Nighthold, but you don't want to have those random. So I wish there was almost, even if there was just a chance to say, like, okay, I want LFR difficulty, but I want flexible raid size. Like, don't put anyone else in my group. Like, that, I think might be the solution. As
something just to, you know, see it and get the content, which was actually the entire point of us going into the LFR version of it, just to kind of see it and stuff. It's a good tool for that. And yes, but I mean, our goal is, of course, to finish it on normal and everything. But you're right. It's like, all of a sudden, there are some of those bosses that we just repeatedly butt our heads against for a long while until, I don't know if we're out gearing the problem or something, or if maybe someone who is, I don't know, exceptionally having a hard problem with that boss doesn't show that night. And then after that, we just get it after that because we killed it once. So we have, like, the confidence or something, or how it goes. But I would assume that because, you know, our team kind of fluctuates a bunch every week, that's a big part of it too, where, you know, some people might have been there for the one night that we worked solely on this boss, and then the next time we're in it, we're making progress, but someone wasn't there, and then it's their first time seeing it, so that holds us back even more. So I'm sure with a small dedicated team where it's mostly everybody every single time, it really helps with that progression and everything, and you can really know how certain people are going to react to certain things.
100%. Like, that's probably the biggest thing that I've noticed, is that and I mean, we've only done 3 weeks of raiding, but that is one thing that I've noticed, is that every single week I know every single person that's going to be there. We had a couple of extra people from another heroic raid team who came and helped us out the first week because we were still low on our recruitment. But ever since that first week, it's been like the same core group of people who have shown up every time. And it's still a very small group. So we've got, like I said, I think 12 people or so, which is also a very small herd of cats to herd. Like, we can say, like, you have to make sure that you are in a semicircle on this side of the room, and then, you know, the 10 people make a semicircle, and you don't have to worry about outliers because,
hey,
you know,
Joe
like,
Bob,
it's
get in the semicircle.
yeah, it's a very small group, and it's a lot easier to coordinate that way. Because with our group, I mean, it fluctuates anywhere from 15 to almost, we've had raids that are almost 25, and it's, you know, people
Almost
who
30
come.
even.
Yeah, so it's like people who are coming in and out all the time. And while that is a fantastic social experience, it's not a great progression experience. And there isn't that social rating tier.
Yeah, and especially when, you know, we've had nights where it's like, okay, it's the Guarm fight, and we have one melee person.
Yes,
we kind of need them,
thing.
you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, just the healers alone, like you switched, like again, I've thanked you I don't know how many times at this point for switching to your pally healer, and again, thank you for that, because obviously we need it sometimes. But I mean, the fact that the amount of healers that we have, we could be running 3 or 12, you know. It's weird, that shouldn't happen too, you know. It's again, it, like you're saying, it's a social thing, and we all went into this knowing that's what it's going to be. But again, tuning the difficulty for something that it really does feel like it's constantly in flux makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I feel like there almost should be like LFR, flex, normal, then, you know, mythic, or heroic, then mythic. Well, like just some other something.
And they haven't really treated normal as if it's actually normal since they made that switch either. I mean, if you look at the achievements to get mounts and things like that, like all the rewards that you would think are for rating the content are on heroic and above. So calling it normal even kind of feels like a misnomer in this case, because they definitely get passed off as like secondhand citizens to some degree. Like, they don't get treated as normal raiders. They kind of get treated as like, oh, you're in the casuals. And so it wouldn't bother me if they wanted to bring it. I mean, they could even bring it back down to what it was. They could call it. I mean, I guess they don't want to call it flex rating because they're all flex rating now, except Mythic.
Except Mythic.
But at the same time, like, they could give it a different name and make heroic normal and make Mythic heroic. They could do that and ultimately be fine. But I do think you're right. I think they need to tune it a little bit better for, I mean, at least what you should be expecting, or at least what they're saying that we should expect. And maybe it's where it's at. Maybe this is what they want. But I don't feel like that was what was sold to us when they first said, here's what flex mode is.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, they have 2 more difficulty levels above normal, right? So to me, normal should almost be the way that LFR is right now, which is the thing that you use to see the content. Like, if there's 2 more difficulty levels in a section of raid content, then my expectation as someone who's going in and raiding, if I want progression, I want to go in at the first tier and say, okay, this is the content, this is the fights, ready, set, go, clear it once or twice, then move on and start heroic. I don't want to sit there and do normal over and over and over and over again. That seems silly and like a waste of time. So, you know, like, I feel like that tier should be easier for everyone. And I don't think anyone would be upset if that tier was made any easier, because they have 2 more options to go harder. You've got your flexible, harder option on heroic, and you've got your, you know, set team size option on mythic. Like, there's other ways to do harder versions of the content. So I don't see what the problem with making normal easier would be.
And I mean, first of all, I don't want to completely discount, you know, what FERT has done, because, you know, this is actually the first time. But this is the first time that we've actually cleared a whole raid encounter, you know, before it was nerfed to hell, which, you know, we finished Emerald Nightmare, and it was a big achievement for us, and we were happy about that. But I mean, it was said in the chat room, and I mean, we've said it before, where the version of crap, I can't think of what it was. It was the whatever the raid on Siege of Orgrimmar. That, I mean, it was flex, it was normal, it was heroic. So I mean, even if you just change the names to whatever Blizzard wants to call it, that tuned for flex was perfect for what we had. I mean, things were still challenging. John, you were there for, you know, most of the time that we were raiding it, and then once we started, you know, or once it was near the end of the expansion, you were able to come and join us some more for that. And I mean, you agree, right? It was like challenging at times, but at that point, I think we were doing maybe, I mean, except for Gary, of course, we were doing like maybe um, 2 nights of progression on a boss, and then we down it,
Yeah.
something along those
It
lines.
felt
Which I
like a
think
constant arc
seems.
of progress.
Yeah,
I think that seems reasonable. Like you start a boss and you try it on Wednesday and then you finish that boss on Sunday. Like 2
Mhm.
nights of 2 to 3 hours of raiding should be enough to learn a fight and get through it. And I mean, there's times where we're doing that much 2, 3, 4 times without actually getting through a boss. And I mean, like Manor, we never did finish whatever the Hellfire Citadel.
Yeah. I
Was
mean,
that the last one? Yeah.
we did it after the huge nerf. I think we
Yes.
killed Archimon once, and they were like, "We're never going back here," because
Yeah.
we had
'Cause it
such a
wasn't
hard
fun.
time. And like, I get that it's the end boss, but at least back when we were doing like Siege of Orgrimmar, the final boss of the expansion, and yeah, it took us a while, but we were seeing some progress on there, and we knew where our faults were, which is okay. We need to really bust up our DPS in order to be able to, either gather those ads that spawn, the little shawlings, or we need to just push them past that point entirely, which is what we ended up being super successful at, and it progressed that way. So we were able to eventually kind of overcome it, and a lot of that I think had to do with like valor upgrades and everything like that on the gear, and I'll go back to this. I've said it before many times. When your raid is entirely based on personal responsibility of every single member, that makes it harder for a social raid team to kind of get in there and do everything.
I feel like they should encourage the flow of the game and hope that players will follow this. I'm going to go in at normal with my group. I'm going to see the fights. I'm going to learn the basics of the mechanic in a not very punishing environment. I'm going to get through it well before the full content circle. And that's going to encourage these raid teams who have maybe cleared out the place a bit early to say, hey, this boss, we're really just destroying this boss. Why don't we try it on heroic? Oh, wow, we did that. Maybe we should push and try and do heroic here too, and we can get better gear. And wouldn't that be fun? And try that. The problem is it's tuned in such a way that friends and family guilds and raid teams are not necessarily, I don't want to speak for all of them out there, but they're not necessarily getting through the entire raid in a raid cycle. And what that ultimately does is it means you're only stuck on normal and you're not necessarily pushed to try heroic, which is what I think that should be the flow. And if you're curious what the role of LFR is in this, LFR should be for the people that just want to see whatever story and thing is behind that raid wall. And you don't have to be part of a team and you don't have to commit to nights a week. You just have to say, I want to see it, and it goes, and you go and see it. And that's how it works. That should be the method. It should be, I'm going. Normal should be the gateway to raiding. And again, I like what Jocelyn's saying with it should just match instances. Like, exactly. Normal is your doorway to understanding what an instance is. That should be what it is for raiding. And I'm sure there are plenty of teams out there that feel that this is it. They're probably operating at a bit higher level than what FERT is. But I would say FERT is a fine example of a team that's very casual. It's got some people that are extremely good. Obviously, we've had players go on to join heroic teams and do quite well. Actually, do quite better on the heroic team than the normal team is currently doing. So,
just by one boss, technically.
Just by one boss, sure. Whatever makes you feel better.
So far.
So,
well, but I mean, like the cake boss is a perfect example of a ridiculous amount of personal responsibility. Like, everyone has to constantly be checking the whole room to make sure that everything that needs to be soaked is being soaked. And if you're not paying attention, then it's easy to wipe your whole raid.
Yep. And I mean, a big thing of our group is, we need things, kind of spoon fed until we've done the fight, 10 or 11 times, we were able to kill the scorpion after I started calling out focus beam or whatever it is. And thank God Hunts was calling out the big explosion thing, because it's like, I'm trying to keep everybody alive and focusing on trying to call out one thing. I can't do everything else. So, I mean, we got it down, which is what matters. We're happy about that. But I mean, I wouldn't put it on a farm status like I would, say, the first boss in Emerald Nightmare, which even then people just start getting relaxed and stop paying attention to the mechanics, and then we have issues.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the funny thing is, I don't think I ever mentioned it on the show, but so John Tet couldn't come one night, and so I started, the raid, and started inviting everybody and everything. And we walked in, we started fighting, and we were wiping left and right on this first boss, something that we have killed at that point probably a good 10 to 15 times.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not that much, but it feels like,
we had done it quite a few times.
To the point where, I mean, the tanks are taking a ton of damage. The raid is taking a ton of damage, and we're getting this boss down to like maybe 70%. Okay. And we're a team that has killed Cenarius and Xavius.
Yeah, we'd already done the raid.
Yeah, multiple times. And I mean, Tet wasn't there, and I'm like, okay, well, we have a different tank, but he's not the reason why this is happening, And then all of a sudden I get a whisper, is the raid supposed to be on heroic? And so I'm like, no, it's not. But the thing is we spent almost an hour on a boss that we know how to do, and we were dying greatly, and we've cleared the normal content many, many times.
Yeah. And
so that's actually a really, really good point, because when Matt and I started, basically what happened is we were running Karazhan. And Karazhan we had a great time with, because it was this 5-man and the content was really, really challenging. It was really hard, and we were wiping all the time, and we had to, figure out new strategies. We didn't have any like raid videos or anything that we were watching. Yeah. So we were just trying to figure out the strategy and, going by the dungeon journal and, trying to figure out what to do.
Amazing. It's a good thing.
Yeah. And we were just like, as we're going through and progressing through Kara, we were like, wow, this is actually really, really fun. Mm-hmm. And so we were just like, we were talking about it, and then we're like, you know what? We really want to try the next level of raiding. Like, we're doing normal with Fert, and that's great. And we want to try heroic. So we're like, okay, we'll put a heroic team together. And we looked at the numbers for Fert, and we're like, okay, so we're kind of looking at 100 to 150k DPS for as an average for most of the people in the raid. So we're like, okay, we'll set our bar at 200, because that should be, good. And we'll grab a bunch of DPS that are at 200, and we'll go try heroic raiding. And like, we got our asses kicked. And we were just like, so most of the people from our team, I think we only have 2 or maybe 3 that haven't raided in this expansion yet. So they've, come from other raid teams or whatever, transferred from other servers. And, so but have raid experience in Legion. And we kind of all came together, and we're doing the damage that we thought we should do. We all have clears, or most of us have clears on Emerald Nightmare. Some of us had clears on Trial of Valor. We actually have one guy who's mythic raiding with another team. And even with all of that, we couldn't do heroic. And I'm just like, if we're consistently clearing normal, there is no reason with the small, tight team that can make progress, because we're making progress through normal. Like, why the heck are we wiping? And again, like, it's these crazy big jumps between like content, and apparently what we've realized now is like the gap filler is Mythic plus Dungeons, and getting your tier gear that way, or not technically tier, but your better gear that way. And we're just kind of like, this is jumping us all over the place, and it doesn't make sense. If we can consistently clear Emerald Nightmare on difficulty A, we should then be able to go into Emerald Nightmare on difficulty B and make progressive progress.
Yeah, they need to be individual circles. You need to operate within one ecosystem, and if you want to try and get loot from multiple ecosystems, that can be a faster way to do it. Like, that's a cool way to supplement it, but it's very hard to take what's going to be a 10+ man raid team and say, well, you guys need to separate and find a way to gear up in these 5-man dungeons. That doesn't work out mathematically to me. I mean, I guess it does. It divides in half perfectly, but shut up.
Well, no, if there's 11 people.
We've got I think
there's 12.
14, I think, on our team. So that means like even if we take away our one mythic raider who is basically just a fan of the show and was like, I want to come raid with you guys, and we were like, yes, please. So even if we take him out of the equation, because he's destroying us on gear numbers anyway, But even if we take him out, we've got 13. So, that's
And you
two
have two
groups of
tanks,
5.
right?
And we have 2 tanks. Yeah, so it's 2 groups of 5 and 3 people left out.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if we're looking at gear levels and everything like that, I agree. If you're running the heroic, if you've cleared it, your item level should be, good enough to go into the heroic version of that. I mean, if you look at dungeons, you have regular dungeons. Guess how you get gear to go into heroics? By doing dungeons. Go into heroics.
World quest.
You use heroics, and I mean, you go into raid from heroics. That's kind of how it's always been. So, whatever, that's fine. And yeah, John, world quests are a thing, but
I know I'm just throwing that
talking just the
monkey
regular
wrench in there just
progression,
to mess with you.
Yeah. We're going off of gear drops as opposed to just luck that it upgrades.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm fine if mythics are on par with like raid gear, but once you start going into mythic pluses, that shouldn't be the requirement to go into heroic raiding, because like John said, keep your circles similar. Like if I ever want to go into mythic raids, guess what? I'm going to be farming everything. And unfortunately, from what it sounds like, heroic raids aren't going to be good enough to get me into mythic raids. So, okay, I guess I'll never do that. Well, I mean, I'm never going to do that anyway, but I mean, it's just one of those things where.
But the barrier to entry there
progression
is odd, and I will actually, and I don't know, there might be some people that get pissed off at me for saying this, but I think I'm going to say it anyways.
Oh my god!
I think World Quest really threw a gigantic wrench into this whole progression system, because on World Quest, if you have a high enough item level, you've got your base of 840 and stuff can roll higher than that. So you may be going around clicking on squirrels and kicking nuts, and then all of a sudden you have a piece of 875 gear. And you're just like, this is amazing, but the player that's then putting on that gear hasn't necessarily earned it by learning how to do the difficult raiding content that an 875 gear piece would normally be attached to. So then that person who has done world quest after world quest after world quest of, riding on the back of a dragon and clicking the 1 button and, like I said, collecting squirrels and kicking nuts, all of a sudden gets into a raid situation where they think, okay, the gear that drops out of here isn't even an upgrade for me. And yet I'm dying in the first 10 seconds because I don't actually know how to do mechanics. And so I think like World Quest, as cool as it was for players who are used to doing content like raids that do require, like they're just used to paying attention to mechanics and all the rest of it, it's great to gear them up very quickly. But the flip side of that is players who aren't ready for that content are getting geared up just as quickly and then going in and having a bad time.
If I ever write a biography, I'm going to call it Rolling on Squirrels and Kicking Nuts.
But, to an extent, I kind of agree with you. As someone who has raided before and everything, getting those high gear drops is great. But again, I have the experience. I know what to look for when I'm actually raiding in everything. And so, like, for me, great. To another extent, I see it, though, because, okay, I agree with you, but I don't. Because I want to be able to go with my friends and family group. But again, if everything comes down to personal responsibility, like you're saying, a high level of gear isn't going to matter because, they can do more DPS, but they're going to die because they're standing in the puddle or something, And, as much as I love those achievements that are, ready for rating 1 or 2 or, that have to deal with, dodging mechanics and doing little things like that and everything. Sometimes it's just not enough. And as much as, being a raid leader as I am and, trying to call people to say, hey, stand behind the thing because the thing's going to happen. And then seeing people fly to the edge of the room, I'm just like,
Yeah. I mean,
it all comes down to, they have to be focused. They have to be in it. And, friends and family rating hasn't been tuned as good as it was in Flex back in Siege and Orgrimmar yet. I mean, we're better than last expansion, but it's not there yet. Sorry, John.
Here comes another moment
I'll stop interrupting you.
Old Uncle John's going to come out and talk about Heroes of the Storm, but it's going to happen.
I'll hang up on him.
It's one of those things where, it's something that I had a hard time with. We play with a lot of people, both in audience and among circles of friends, and it is hard because I spend a lot of time in that game. I work hard to try and improve. I am by no means a great player or even a good player, but I'm putting in effort to try and improve, and then occasionally you run into someone that just likes the game and just wants to have fun with the game and just wants to play with their friends. And Jocelyn's raising her hand, and they deserve to have fun. But these people don't always want to get better at the game. Sometimes they just want to get in and have a good time. And so I'm sitting there being like, what? Why don't you know about rotations? Why don't you know this? You should know what this hero does. Why don't you know what this hero does? This is all going on in my head, but the reality is some people just are there to have a good time. And that's the same thing with rating. There are going to be some people that just want to go and have a social experience, and I think it's cool that Blizzard has thought about putting a mode in there. I'm not 100% sure that they've nailed it yet, and I think they could. But I also think, continuing with the Heroes of Storm analogy, that they need to take a real strong look at what their end game cycle is as far as what people are engaging in. I mean, right now, I know if I get on Heroes and there are 4 friends on, I can group with those 4 friends, just like Overwatch. If I get on 5 more friends, boom, we got a group. We got a group and a party going on, and it's good. As soon as you start throwing into the mix, not as big of an issue in Overwatch, because everybody plays Overwatch, but as soon as you start throwing in another...
Maybe not well, though.
another mode where it's like, oh, hey, guys, yeah, you can queue... but if you have 5, you're not going to get to play these maps or these modes. But if you got 3, you can play these modes. Like, as soon as you start dividing it, it starts to get a little more difficult. And so having raid bleed into dungeons, bleed into what you're doing solo and all of that, it's confusing the numbers. Like, people should be able to say, I like dungeons. I'm going to get on with 4 friends, and we're going to do dungeons, and we're going to do normal, and then we're going to do heroic, and then we're going to do mythic, and then we're going to see how far we can go into mythic plus, and it's going to be awesome, and thank you, Blizzard, for making this cool mode that we can keep playing. Meanwhile, the raiders should be able to say, we're going to get in, we're going to do normal to see the fights, we're going to go into heroic, we're going to kick that, and honestly, I really think they should take Mythic to a flex mode, and I think they should have a competitive where they say, like, call it whatever you want. I'm calling it competitive because I just thought of it, and say that that's where we're going to put the 20-man, and that's where you're going to go if you really want to compete. But Mythic is going to be flex too. It's going to be the highest difficulty. It should be what everybody aspires to ultimately. And let that be the cycle for them. And by doing that, you do make it easier across the board. And every time we bring this topic up, it never fails. I'm on to you. I know what you're going to do, YouTube commenter. Oh, friggin' casual noobs. You so casuals. Yes, we're talking about casuals for a moment. Deal with it. But we're trying to make people better. So also shut up.
Just let me piggyback on this really quick. What if they turned raiding mythics into something similar along the lines of the mythic dungeons, how they have the different keystones, and make it that much more difficult?
I mean, they could do all sorts of things, but just cycle it back. Let people stay within the circle of I want to do raiding. And if you get people that want to engage in multiple different areas, that's fine. The gear will be the thing that carries over between the two of them, but let them fully engage within the content, push people to get better and to find that competitive edge. And then for people like Joss, she's got that motivation to push further and further and further and see how far she can get in a competitive setting. For people that are more casual and just like, I just want a fun casual experience, that's there, and they're going to get something out of raid night almost, if not every single night that they raid.
Yeah, and have some sort of mode where everybody can play as May if they want, or Junkrat if they want.
Yep. May coming to
that's
WoW.
Coming. PvP brawls, dudes. It's gonna be so good.
Everybody's a rogue, no matter what.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
It's perfect. Nailed it.
Well, for one, I hadn't even thought of the idea you guys just brought up, but the idea of having mythic keystones, but for raids, I think is awesome. That would be so freaking cool. I would be so on board with that. And I like the idea of taking mythic flex too. And of course, this again is coming from people who don't actually play the content. But I mean, like, I don't know. It seems like Mythic right now, it seems to be tuned kind of okay. I don't know. Have you guys been watching the race for World First for Nighthold? Oh, okay.
No.
Well, I have been, and I think it's
not over
really
yet.
Freaking cool. No, it's not over yet.
Oh, surprising.
Which is kind of the other thing is that, you know, like a lot of people are saying, you know, like this used to take weeks and now it takes days, but I mean, it's still it's not done yet. I think the last update I saw, which granted I haven't checked much today, but the last update that I saw was, I think, 7 of 10. So, I mean, they're getting there, but the last 2 bosses are extraordinarily difficult. It's kind of like there's like 3 tiers of difficulty in Nighthold. There's kind of the entry level, easy-ish bosses, which are the first 3. Then there's the next level, which is the next 5, which are very difficult. And then there's the top 2, which are like insanity mode.
Yay.
and yeah, like it seems to be taking a while-ish, at least longer than, well, I guess Trial of Valor was very, very short, but as someone who hasn't really paid attention to this whole like race for world first thing before, it seems to be taking a good amount of time. Like, I'm glad that somebody didn't just go in, play for 3 hours and go, whoops, we did it. So
well, imagine if there were 12 levels of mythic difficulty for them to race through.
Right? Like, how cool would that be? Like, the first, like, race to world first in terms of, like, who gets the final boss down first, but then, like, race to the max keystone level. Like, that would be so freaking cool and would probably take a very, very long time. So I think that would be something that would be really interesting, and I think is basically the flip side of this difficulty problem, right? You've got your casual friends and family people who want to raid, who need maybe not less personal responsibility, but maybe like make it just a little bit less impactful on everybody else if you do screw up. So like, you don't eat that cake. Maybe normally it does 100 damage. Now it does 50 damage or something, you know, like just take down those personal responsibility mechanics a little bit in terms of their punishment for when you screw them up. And then you've got the flip side where there's people who really want a hardcore experience, who are playing 4 and 5 nights a week with their raid team, who want to go as hard as you can go and be the best of the best.
And you don't eat that cake and the whole team dies.
Yeah, exactly.
And just kill everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And you just, you know, ramp up the difficulty, ramp up the health. Maybe like, because I mean, you've got the modifiers on the Mythic Plus dungeons. I think the one that we have this week is I can't remember what it's called, but basically it means that like if you had a pack of 3 ads, now it's a pack of 5 ads. Teaming. Teaming is what it's called. So it's like all the same ads, but there's just more of them. So, I mean, do that. If a boss normally spawns 1 ad, now he spawns 2 because the raid is teaming. That would be super cool and very challenging, I think. And in some cases, you would have to really rethink your strategies for some of those raids.
And that's exactly what, to me, would be exciting about raid. And maybe this is why they would need a competitive mode, because I'm sure people who try to memorize and, you know, try to find the most efficient way and all of that will want something that's expected. But one of my favorite things they do at BlizzCon is when they do the raid, the big group raid, and I like it because there's unexpected things. And I would rather be in a raid where the difficulty came less from my ability to memorize the set commands that a boss can do and my ability to dodge or click or hit this combo or whatever, and more on my adaptability to what the boss was doing. Like, oh, this boss is going to do this, or, oh, here's a mechanic that you thought you knew, but we've put a twist on it. Now, instead of this protecting you, this now damages you, and so now you have to go and do this thing instead. And thinking on your feet, like, that sounds way more fun to me than just, hey, this boss is going to hit harder.
As long as it's not all RNG based of, oh, a thing fell over here as opposed to over there, or, oh, it hit this person instead of that
you
person.
would know what to expect, but I'm thinking of it almost even from a way, although a bit more, like, random, but, like, you know how some games have difficulty settings, and typically the difficulty setting means enemies are more accurate, they have more health, and you take more damage. Like, and that's
Yeah.
what upping the difficulty does. But then you look at a game like GoldenEye, just as the example that comes to mind, and the difficulty
There's a
wasn't
golden gun.
the difficulty might have had an impact on those, but it was also like, hey, and by the way, on this map that you've run a dozen times, now you have to go down into the cellar and you have to deactivate this thing and don't get spotted by security cameras. Like, it added all these cool modifiers that made going through those old levels so much more fun, and you get more longevity out of your content, which WoW has had a problem with, if you can do stuff like that, as long as you can get players to want to engage with it.
So like more so than just like raid achievements, because in a sense that's kind of what they are, but you can still just do the fight normally. But what you're asking for is to have those like raid achievements be the thing that actually gets you past the boss.
Yeah, kinda. Something like that, kinda. I mean, not for normal. I don't think you want the base level players to have that experience, but maybe on the Mythic Plus, or even, they could even do it in Heroic. But I think like Mythic Plus, throw the unexpected at people, like turn the mechanics on its head and really throw people for a loop. I think that would make me want to do it, which means I would have to A, raid, and B, actually try to progress to Heroic and then Mythic Plus. I think that would be a fun thing to see. So,
speaking of those raid achievements and everything, John, were you there when we were going to fight Ursoc and we decided to, the very first time, hey, let's go save that bear over there, or the druid over there, or whatever.
We all died horrible deaths.
Oh yeah, we had horrible deaths.
Yeah.
Well, John, we got that achievement.
Nice.
Yeah. One of the last times we were there, I think it was Vessa. She's like, hey, should we save that guy this time?
It was me.
Oh, it was you? Okay. I couldn't remember. I just remember her saying that we should do it at some other time, but I think it was when we were trying to do a speed run. We're like, no. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm glad that you said something, because, we were just like, let's go do it. What the hell? If we die, we die. Everybody was in a good mood that night. We're like, yeah, let's try it. Who cares?
Yeah.
And we succeeded.
I like that.
Fun.
I like when extra challenge comes from something you can opt into and doesn't have an impact on the fight. Like,
it had an impact on the fight because he was in there with us.
Well,
yeah, which is also very cool.
I know that, but like what I mean is the idea that you can say arbitrarily, like, let's do this thing without it having to be no, I don't want to, because that completely changes everything that we have planned for the night. Like, something where you can just say, let's try it. Let's see if we can do it. Like healing that plant. Like, if you don't heal the plant, okay, you didn't heal the plant. It's not going to wipe your raid team, probably, unless the healer's really into healing that plant.
Well, that first night that it happened, that was pretty darn awesome. What's that plant over there? Oh, it's just some achievement. Don't worry about it. We all get the achievement.
But see, that's cool. That's cool. That's a fun challenge, and that's a fun thing to do. So I like stuff like that where you can opt into it, and it's not like, I decided that we are going to engage in this, and now it's something we can't do. Now we have to go through the whole process again and start over because our eyes got big all of a sudden.
And then there are those times that, it was great and everybody laughed and it was funny, where Larry said, hey, I'm going to try something. And then all of a sudden all these other ads come and just kill us all. Oh, that was great.
Famous last words. Go on a tombstone. Yeah, I'm going to try something. right alongside, hey, watch this.
Exactly.
Or hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my beer.
Wait, just hold my beer here. I can try something.
But, again, I think people, because I do want to hit this point before the forums and feedback hit it. I know we're talking about casual things, but I don't think that encouraging players to want to play on higher difficulties is a bad thing. So even if you're elite, whatever you want to call it, if you're running mythics, if you've got full clears on all the heroic difficulties and your team's the most badass on the planet, good for you. I don't think pushing people to try that is bad, because the more people that do that and the more people that get excited about that, that's a bigger incentive on Blizzard to enhance that part of the game for you. And it helps you as a player too. So before you jump on casuals, filthy, dirty casuals, for coming in and messing up your experience, just remember that this game gets improved based on where the people go. If all the people are raiding, then Blizzard's going to put a lot of time and effort into raiding. If nobody cares, they kind of stop caring too. So it's ultimately good for the health of the game for people to want to engage with this content.
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, too, we didn't just talk about the casual raid experience. We just had a whole huge conversation about Mythic Plus modifiers and how cool it would be to continue at the even higher levels. Like, I think right now they have a very, like, stepped approach to difficulty. Like, you have LFR, normal, heroic, mythic. And I think it very much should be a curve. It should be LFR into normal, into heroic, into mythic, however that ends up working out at the different scales. Like, we've basically given suggestions for filling in the gaps between their current raid tiers. So I don't think that's just a discussion about casuals. I think that's a discussion about raiding start to finish.
And even more so, we're casuals, so who cares?
I'm so casual I don't even raid. So
I know.
that's how casual I am.
Yeah. Filthy casuals.
Filthy, dirty casuals coming in here, touching stuff, getting it dirty.
Yeah. Getting the casual funk all over it.
Wouldn't a casual make things cleaner? Wouldn't they come in without the dirt?
I would think so.
Because, like, they need to be delicate and treated well.
No, we're not saying that they're delicate special snowflakes or anything.
Casuals wear gloves. Like, that's the deal. They come into your place and it's just nicer for it. That's how
A bow tie, jacket and tails, gloves.
I'm ever so happy to be here. That's a cat.
So they're urchins now. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you let me inside your raiding, yay!
I'll get to
Thank you
raid
so much,
too.
Governor.
I'm so happy. It's about time somebody finally let me raid. I couldn't
You
be
there,
happier.
you boy!
What?
Drop a feast.
What difficulty is this?
A feast? I haven't seen a
Christmas
feast in days, my lord. Can I try some?
No.
Bugger all. All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Jocelyn, thank you very much for joining us. It is always a pleasure to have you. You bring such a great insights from someone who is, much better than us at rating. So we appreciate it. But even more so, thank you very much for coming on the episode. Where can people find you?
You can find links to pretty much everything I do over at jossplays.com. You can also follow me on Twitter and Twitch at jossplays. That's JOCE Plays.
Nice. Seriously, you have a lot of fun on that channel, and I really appreciate that you do it.
we've I mean, it's kind of the whole spectrum now of stuff that I do over there. It's gone from just podcasting to podcasting and streaming, and now we've kind of got stuff from, well, I mean, the stream that we did, Sarah and I, on Monday, which was the Heroes of the Storm stream quest for the Golden Rooster.
That's not what it was called.
I know, but I don't know your audience, so I don't want to go too far.
We're talking about roosters. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And all the way to a show that we started a few months ago called Slaying Demons, which I'm sure you guys are already aware of, but
Wait,
where we're
what's
talking.
this?
So Slaying Demons is a show that we put together that is very much, it's like a mental health, self-help sort of a show where we share our own personal experiences. So you're getting stories from Jules Nevermore and I about our personal experiences over the last 30-ish years. So there's a lot of really kind of personal, serious story sharing and discussion going on, and it's really fun now that the channel kind of has these two extremes of like the super fun game nights through the gaming podcast down to the mental health, self-help type shows. So it's we're having a lot of fun over there. So yeah, I encourage you all to come and join us.
Definitely. I happen to be a fan. What can I say?
Well, I thank you.
John, what about you? How can people find you?
Well, this week I'm going to talk about something very special that I want to take a moment to talk about. So past listeners may be aware that I am involved on a Heroes of the Storm show.
No.
What's it called?
Core. And, well, we are fast approaching time for the second annual Heroes Charity Brawl.
What?
Oh, I cannot wait for this. So, those of you may remember, last year, a bunch of us Heroes of the Storm podcasters all got together to beat the snot out of each other in a bunch of really dumb game modes that ended up being really fun. And we're going to do it again. So I'm really excited about it. We are raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And we are already, I mean, we just put the page up just as like a, hey, let's get it up so we can actually talk about this thing. And we're already at $415 towards our goal so far.
Good job.
And we're still, about a month away from our actually doing the event itself, which is when we were like, well, that's when we'll get money for the charity. So that's incredible. People who have already donated, you're awesome. If you want more information, go to gofundme.com/Heroes Charity Brawl 2. That's the number 2, because it's the second one. There was 1, and now there's 2. So it's going to be great. You got the host from Core. You got host from Lords of the Storm, Into the Nexus, Blizz Pro's Heroes Power Hour, and Hotscast. Sorry, Ben. Sorry, you couldn't keep up with the yelling.
That's okay.
It's fine. You did very, very well. And we're looking forward to it. We're going to do some of the same game modes that were a lot of fun. I can confirm Battle for the Bullions coming back. That's where you have to collect 100 coins on Blackheart's Bay, and it's the best game mode ever, because when you kill somebody, coins go everywhere. It's like a friggin' Mario game. It's fantastic. So, yeah, check that out. GoFundMe.com/Heroes Charity Brawl 2. I'm really excited to be a part of it, and it's super cool.
There's also one other thing that, speaking of charities, I wanted to mention today. It came out of PAX, which I think is really freaking cool, is that Twitch says that we raised over $25 million last year for charity as gamers. And I think that's fantastic. That's awesome. So that was part of the Yogscast holiday thing. That was Extra Life. That was basically all the charity events that were run on Twitch last year raised over $25 million. So I think as gamers, this is awesome and we should do more of it. And I love that you guys are doing the Heroes Charity Brawl.
Oh, it's so fun. I was so glad when Bo
it's really fun to watch.
We're starting it up again. Yeah, it's cool, and I'm looking forward to it. I get to even be in it, but I just want to watch it.
Well, I gotta say, John, watching you guys play with augmented rules on everything, like different random custom game modes and stuff, it's a ton of fun to watch.
Well, plus we have the sandbox mode to play with now, which is gonna be. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to use it to make something, but we know, we have a doc where we're coming up with game modes for this year, and we just wrote, sandbox mode, ! We should do something. We don't know what, but we should do something. But, I mean, you should hear the stupid ideas that come up. I shouldn't say stupid. These are all great ideas. They're fantastic. But there's one involving Murky and nukes. And
I love it.
We don't know if we're going to do it. We're going to have to do test runs on some of these things. I don't know if I was supposed to tease that. I'm going to tease it anyway. But I mean,
you're on a show about Murlocs. It's fine.
We talk about every little possibility. So I'm really excited for it. And that is super cool news. Raising money for charity. I mean, it's such a cool part of what Twitch does, what we do. Mm-hmm. It's nice to know that the stereotype of gamers just shoot people is not true. I already knew that. It actually
ended a while ago, which is good.
I hope. You'd think. I feel like
then again, I'm surrounding myself with gamers, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. Anyway, Benjamin.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
How are you this evening?
Ben here.
Hi, Ben.
I'm doing pretty good.
Great. What's up? What are you doing?
Well, I'm about to tell you that if you want to, gosh, how do I even plug anything after that? That's good night, everybody.
Man, you should have gone first.
I know you really should have. Sorry.
Oh, well,
it's a wonderful charity thing that's going on. Now you should listen to my show.
I'm on Twitter.
You should listen to Ben's show. Hold on, Ben. I got your back. Hey, John here. You may remember me from the nice charity promo that just took too long.
I'm going to give another little bit of charity and tell you about Ben's stuff.
No, it's not charity. Ben's a good guy. He plays Mass Effect sometimes, and you can vote for what he does in it. And
Yeah.
you can find out where to vote, where he plays, all of that on his Twitter, which is at Ben the Mage. You should follow it. He's fantastic. He's got a Rebel Alliance icon right now, which I find questionable. I find it weird when people put other logos for their IDs, but it's fine. You know, he's repping who he thinks. Let Ben be Ben. Stop jumping on Ben's back, everybody.
Yeah, come on.
Jeez. You can
all over
also
the place.
listen to him on Battle Pets, which is a show he does with Aludra. That's
New episode's going to be coming up this weekend. I have to edit it.
Yeah, he's going to edit. Ben edits stuff,
Yeah.
guys, before you
I do.
jump all over him for that, too. He edits. And
Yeah, you know what? I bleeped my swear last episode.
Yeah, that was an edit. That took
That's fancy.
That took minutes of his life.
Yeah.
Whole minutes that he'll never get back. And before you go running off, Ben's so busy, he's got another show, Geektopia, that he does. Not all the time, but occasionally. Sometimes he plays Dungeons and Dragons. He's got a hard life.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Coming in here being like charity people, and then here's Ben. Ben's great. Look at all he did. Look at him smile. Look at his hat.
It's a good hat.
So if I was an action figure, I'd come with a hat accessory.
Ben, do you have
Yes.
something on your hat? Because on my camera, it just
Yes.
looks like a black
It's
hat.
the horde symbol.
The
I
Horde
can't
logo
see
in
it.
black.
I think my whatever is turned up too high. It just looks black. I can see it when the light hits it right.
Yeah.
Ben, that's
I'll
a
just talk
sweet.
like this the rest of the day.
That's a sweet hat. Everybody, lay off Ben.
Were they actually attacking me?
Yeah,
I
they
was gonna
were.
say, I don't think anyone was laying on Ben, unless I've missed something in the last hour.
Confirmed.
Well, when you put it like
Let's put that on the back of the Azeroth Roundtable box. I don't think anybody was laying on top of Ben, said Joss, of Joss Plays fame.
You're welcome.
This show, though, we are on Twitter. We are at AzerothRT. If you have any questions, comments, or want to email us, you can always send those to AzerothRoundtable@gmail.com. All of our episodes are on AzerothRoundtable.com on iTunes and Stitcher, too. And, of course, you can... well, gosh, I usually say that with that part right there, so let's move past that. I'm going to be editing that out. And last but not least, our intro contains music from Rhino's theme by Kevin MacLeod. You can find more of his music at incomitech.com.
Hear that exit? That was an awesome exit. Everybody
It
lay
was.
off Ben. He messed up a little bit, but who doesn't? He's a friggin' symbol of humanity at its best.
Well, they messed up a little bit.
Yeah. Generally pretty solid with occasional screw-ups. That's the story of mankind, all wrapped up in a single human being. Friggin' judgmental people.
John, don't you have something else that you need to do right now?
Hey, look at him keeping me on track. Ben's here to make sure this show functions like a well-oiled machine. What are you doing? You're just sitting there judging.
Or listening.
Or listening, judging quietly. And we appreciate you for it. And you can show your appreciation for us by going to patreon.com/AzerothRT to support this show. We appreciate all the support of our current patrons, and we've got some cool surprises coming up.
Yes,
So
some really cool stuff, actually.
stay tuned. It requires me to be responsible, so adjust your schedules accordingly, because
From unknown to unknown.
yes. Look at that joke. That was an awesome joke. Ben makes great jokes.
Everyone just lay off Ben.
Everybody leave him alone. Always right and Ben's not funny. That was a zinger.
Wait, when did they say that?
Just in the papers. Leave him alone. Why are
In
you
the
even
papers?
writing into the papers?
I was looking at the New York Times today. There was a full-page ad that said, Ben, not funny.
Yep. Just leave him
Who
alone.
paid for that?
Ben's a good guy.
Patreon.com/AzerothRT.
Hashtag Ben's a good guy. That's what?
And
That's
that
a
is
show?
a podcast
Okay.
episode.
Cool. Great.
I was
We
like,
did-
is that the end? Are we done?
Yeah, that's where I'm ending it.
Look at the way he ended the show. Like a champ.
He just made that decision and ran with it.
He just decided that's the end of the show. I'm calling it. And he called it.
Yeah, gotta do that sometimes.
Man, I'm so excited for what's potentially happening. I know something. My nose is twitching about
Waiting
Artanis. Because I got a message from Bo and he says, "You watching this game, John Jagger?" And I was like, "Oh man, something Artanis is happening." And then sure enough, he just said, Game 4, no tomorrow versus SSS. And then he just put comma, Artanis. I know.
Are the 3 S's, do they stand for Artanis?
Superstar Squad. I don't know. I think that might actually be what it stands for.
Is there a butt right in the middle of your overlay?
What? Oh, yeah,
Yes,
there
there
totally is.
It kind of looks like it's Chen's butt.
Hold on.
He's like peeking around the other side.
Wow,
No,
he would be.
Isn't it Nova?
Yeah, it is Nova, but he would be arced really weird.
He's stretchy Chen.
Crap.
All that gut that he has, it just stretches out.
Now we're
Yeah.
gonna have to change it. I can't unsee it. He's peeking around so mischievously. Family. Ah,
Look at my rear.
really.
Wow.
Oh man.
Thanks a lot for that, Joss. We've
Yep.
been using
You're
that for
welcome.
like the last 100 episodes.
Yeah. Can't unsee.
helping.
I'm helping.
Can't unsee it now.
Yep.
But that is some Liefeld-esque proportions. If that's him, that's messed up.
Amazing.
Oh, it's totally messed up, but
It's okay. I appreciate that you found that. Reaper versus butt. The butt wins.
Truly, the most epic fight of our days. It does. I mean, look, I tried to get it to where it would fit in the least unfortunate way possible. I probably didn't succeed. It does look like there's a butt hovering over our guest on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Just
kind of like Nova's meant to take a shit.
Like you're looking for Nova's
hang on,
secret
my
wallet.
and meanwhile, the Murloc's like, "Yay!
Yeah.
She's gonna poop on me."
I
I
just
did
want
not
to
just
know
say
that.
that.
I just want to know that if this is the best placement, like, what did the worst placement look like? Like,
That
what
as
is
well.
more awkward than a butt right at your guest's face.
I think originally, so I could only move it in so many directions and still have it be the size I wanted. And I think the problem I kept having was that her crotch was right between Ben and I, and it looked like I had just like framed it perfect. Like I was just like, look at this, Nova crotch.
Good job. You know what,
So
John?
instead it's Nova butt?
You made the good choice. You made the good choice.
So I went
Uh,
with a tasteful side butt.
It's artistic.
yeah. It was definitely a choice.
I did try to put it in a way where it wouldn't be like kablam butt, but I mean like maybe
good.
people would be like, "Oh, he seems to be highlighting her upper thigh."
Yeah,
Nope. No.
that's what it is.
I mean, it is
Straight up butt.
it's a side profile view. Like it's fine. It's fine.
Her face is nowhere to be found.
Well, again, John made the layout. So
I don't
I'll
remember
leave that there.
what I see. It's been so long now. I don't remember what the problems were with the other positioning for it. All I'm going to say is this was the best option. I
It's actually
examined.
kind of good that it isn't like just a little bit further over, because if it was, you would get side butt and side boob framed between you and Ben.
Yeah.
I just realized where Nova's head actually is.
So, okay, and I also remember the other part of it. So there were two things. The problem was it looked like I was highlighting like Nova's crotch and her boob. But the other problem is like I was looking at it and I was like, well, it's a WoW show. I want a lot of WoW characters. So I tried to get where there would be WoW characters. So
you
naturally,
kind of
Reaper.
I was gonna point that out as well. Is that there's a real big Diablo face, and then there's a big Reaper.
A big
No,
Reaper.
we have Gazlo, and then we have Tyrande.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they're tiny, but they're there.
They're there. Yeah,
What-
there's
and
you
what-
can
what's-
see one WoW character.
What's right under Joss?
Look, a lot of this
Who
is
is
getting
that?
reworked soon. It's fine. It's fine. There's
Oh, John,
Hearthstone
spoilers.
cards. I know, I teased it a little bit. A lot of this is getting reworked soon. Oh, there's a Lily. That Lily looks weird.
Yeah, she does.
Wait, where is she?
looks freaky.
She looks like she's
right at Nova crotch.
she looks like she's
You
wearing
gotta go-
Harry
Oh,
Potter.
geez.
Just take her
She's
right.
looking away, though. She's looking away. She's like,
I think she's looking at Chen.
She's like, Chen,
are you seeing this?
what's wrong with your body? Yeah,
That's not her voice,
she looks
though.
like she's got nerd glasses on though. I
Yeah,
mean,
she does.
it's panda eyes, but she
No,
looks
it's
like
hipster glasses.
it looks like she's cosplaying as Harry Potter.
Yeah, it totally does.
Wow.
Oh,
You're a wizard, Lily.
Also, I have a decapitated Vala at the very bottom.
yeah, but that's okay
Oh,
because
that's
then
Vala.
it kind of looks like I'm Vala.
With a very disproportionately
gigantic
large
head.
head.
Yeah.
Like
You're a caricature drawing of Vala.
the NBA Jam version of Vala.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, this all needs to be redone.
I'm sorry, John.
Oh no, he's gonna do it anyway.
I was actually going to redo it.
And you know what? You should definitely make a 4-window version as well.
Nope.
Okay.
I will.
I'll make you a 4-window version of whatever he does, Ben.
I will make a 4-window version. I made a 4-window version and Ben couldn't get it to work, but now I'm the one streaming it and I can
and
make
then
it
you
work.
started doing the video.
Yeah, and I could make it work. I can do
Yeah,
4.
and I could make it work on the 4. So why don't you ever use the 4 when we have 2 people on?
I think I deleted it when you told me you couldn't make it work.
I never said I couldn't make it work.
You
That
said
sounds made up.
you said I had to redo it. That's why I deleted it. Why would I delete it if it worked fine?
Out of spite.
It sounds like John, actually.
Yeah, it does.
That does sound like me.
All right, guys, I'm gonna run.
Really? You're going running at this time of night?
Well, not like I'm not actually gonna run. I'm gonna like,
Go.
Casually
Walk.
stroll?
yeah.
Now I'm making the whole overlay
right.
go crazy, so that's how it's going to end. And Joss, thank you so much for joining us. It was
Definitely.
Thanks for
a
having me,
good
guys.
time as always. And yeah, making that happen. You get to see behind the scenes, all the stuff that's going on behind the
But
overlay.
nothing that's back there.
Anyway,
Wow.
thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us. You all have a good night.
All right. Bye.